Hi, I'm Jason Gorber, and we're going to look at the Sony LinkBuds S in-ear headphones, in-ear earphones. You know what I mean? When you put earphones in your ears, this is what you get with the Sony LinkBuds S. Now, Sony, as for decades now, has been an absolute champion of portable audio, providing a wide range of devices. And the sort of Bluetooth earphone space is very, very crowded. You have lots of different models and different choices to make from various competing technologies and competing manufacturers. One thing I'll say, sort of historically, Sony has always been at the forefront of doing some pretty bonkers things. Sometimes it works extremely well, sometimes it doesn't work nearly as well. And their previous version of the LinkBuds were this sort of weird construction. It was sort of like had a hollow hoop in it, and to allow sort of outside sounds to come through. And I think that it had some mixed results. It was like something super ambitious and showing the sort of cleverness and creativity of the engineers, but sort of got away from the actual general honest-to-God functionality of the LinkBuds. I'd heard those, and I thought they were okay. This LinkBuds, if anything is to be said, they're beautifully boring. And I mean that in the best and most positive way possible. They just do what they need to do and do it extremely well in a form factor that's extremely comfortable. It's a level of elegance, is I guess the way to put it, and that's what I really thoroughly enjoy about these earphones, which are absolutely, I'll just say right off the bat, some of the best that I've seen within this range. Now, if I try to open this without too much drama, it's always these silly boxes that you try to get it out without ripping everything sort of all to heck. And there we are at the bottom. So if you pull this out, you get something as simple as a little cardboard outside and a little box. And inside the box, you have where this will go. You have a little spot where the earphone case sits. A 1, 2, and 3 that sort of dictates what order you have to do. 1, download the app. 2, put them in your ears and sort of twist it down. And 3, just basically listen. And if I lift this up, this sort of box, it's actually this really lovely sort of origami-like construction. Inside here, you have these little drawers. And inside one of the drawers, if I pull out, these are the different size ear pads. If I sort of open this up a little bit more, and this, you can see the sort of group of little ear pads, really quite fantastic construction. Inside here is another sort of slot where the USB A to C cable, a nice short one, which is actually quite great. We often get these really, really long cables that don't really do yourself any favor, so it's nice to actually have this kind of combination. And then another thing with a bunch of documentation, all sort of, as I said, slid in with this little sort of consumer-friendly, almost no plastic in here whatsoever, a recyclable case. So I really, really like just, you know, the unboxing experience. It's a good, solid, again, all cardboard box, but that's the thing. And then you have the little clamshell where the earphones actually live. And USB-C port on the back, little reset button, very tight, small, not dissimilar to other manufacturers, the sort of form factor, the sort of pill form factor, fits easily in the front pocket without any drama. So inside the case, you can see there's a light that actually shows the charging level, because the case itself, of course, has a battery. That's what you charge with USB-C. Each earphone itself has an internal battery, the case itself is a battery, and so if you need to recharge, you don't actually have to plug it in. You can take charges off the case 2 or 3 times and it'll actually fully charge the earphones. And you can see here, as I pull these out with the little contacts, there's a right and a left, very simple. These are extremely tiny and absolutely simple design, completely pragmatic design earphones. And if I put them in my crazy ears, that's it. They're absolutely in tight. They fit extremely comfortably. They're sort of flat against the ear. I've actually been resting with them in my ear, and even against a pillow, there's absolutely nothing sort of jutting out. They fit in extremely nicely. You can adjust the rubber tips based on the ones that I've shown you, but I found these immediately to be extremely comfortable right out of the box. Now, as I said, what's beautiful about these is how little there is to talk about other than their excellence. The sound is fantastic. Extremely clear and powerful sound. It took a little bit of effort for me to actually get it to operate with my Android phone from another manufacturer to get LDAC to work, which is the higher resolution. There's some settings that I explain actually in the written review about how to actually make sure that it actually works. You have to go through very specific processes, turn on LDAC mode, and then it plays with much higher resolution. But even on the regular sort of Bluetooth streaming, it did a very, very good job. Very, very smooth mids, enough bass but never obnoxious, enough high end but never so piercing. The noise cancellation is quite excellent. The microphones are very good. Making calls works extremely well. I've worn them for hours at a time. They're extraordinarily comfortable. I never get sort of fatigued with actually having them in the ears. I've listened to everything from high resolution files off Tidal to podcasts to simply watching videos off of my phone. Didn't find much in the way of lag. Obviously, you can prioritize whether or not video or audio quality is the signal prioritization, and I found that switching back and forth certainly helped with sync, but even at the highest resolution, I didn't see too much in the way of sync issues. The case is great. It's a nice sort of molded plastic. If anything, if you accidentally drop them on the floor, they're robust enough that you're not going to have any issues with it. But they tend to roll sort of away from you, and they're tiny enough that you might end up losing them. And they're generally indistinct enough that you're not going to spot them. So maybe a different color might be better for other people. Something that stands out a little bit more. But yeah, they're just great. I mean, they're just earphones that do exactly what they are set out to do. They certainly rival products within a similar price range. They very much borrow technology down from the higher level Sony earphones that have a couple more elements that are incorporated in order to drive even more impressive sound. But honestly, I'm so overjoyed about how the engineers managed to pack this much technology into such a small area. This really feels like they're actually getting these right finally, and especially in contrast to some that have all kinds of functionality that you're simply not going to use. Now, there's a bunch of that here. There's some 3D spatialization of these elements that I find nothing more than a gimmick. I just want very, very good sounding earphones for the 99% of the time that I'm actually listening. There is a setting, like most of these, to actually have a mode that as soon as you start talking, it actually uses so you don't have to take them out. It actually uses the microphone mode, so you have sort of an awareness mode. There is obviously different settings that you can make so that the tapping works in various iterations. By default, it's turning off active noise canceling. I disable that for the most part. I like using the app to switch that on and off if and when I actually want to use noise cancellation. But I have to say, this is probably the first earphones that I've had where the timbre of sound doesn't change dramatically when you turn on ANC. I found almost every other earphone, as soon as I turn on noise cancelling, that there's this massive EQ shift in the sound itself, as if the processing itself is simply redigitizing the audio in a way which is just not pleasing. And it seems that the engineers here just managed to do what you want. That I actually had ANC on in a quieter environment. I didn't even notice if it was flipping back and forth. When you went outside and I was like in a busy city street, very obvious when you turned it on and off, but the music itself stayed very consistent, which I was extremely pleased with. It's got all the bells and whistles that you'd really want, and basically where it comes in the Sony line, and what if you compare it to other models of a similar range, this for me absolutely would be at the top of my list to consider. I think that they're great sounding, they're extremely robust, extremely comfortable. They come in a cute little case. Even the case it comes in is relatively minimalist and not obnoxious. They don't do anything that you don't want them to do, and they do everything that you want them to do pretty darn well. So I definitely think that this LinkBuds S model should be on your list to consider when you're looking at a pair of maybe not the top level of premium earbuds, but certainly earbuds above the average. Something that if you look again in the range of competitive things at this level, this is they absolutely bat well above their weight. Thanks so much for watching. Please let us know in the comments what you think of these earphones or any questions you may have, and we're happy to address them. We will see you next video. All the best. Take care.